equitable, and ensure our community remains a place where people can afford to live and build their future. Please welcome Kristina Sargent.
Commissioner Dr. Joe Neunder describes himself as a family man, small business owner, and healthcare provider who has served as a conservative voice on the Sarasota County Commission for 3 years. He says he is focused on controlling government spending while protecting Sarasota's quality of life. He led the effort to reopen Midnight Pass, which, along with natural forces, has significantly improved water quality and strengthened aquaculture in Sarasota Bay. He helped establish the county's new stormwater division, and as development has increased in pace and scale, become a strong advocate for restrained growth and protecting established neighborhoods. Joe, his wife Cindy, and their 3 sons live in North Venice and are active members of Epiphany Cathedral Catholic Church. Please welcome Dr. Joe Neunder.
Jim DeNiro is a retired Sarasota police sergeant with 30 years of law enforcement experience, alongside a background in local real estate and finance. Having called Sarasota County home for over 4 decades, he has actively served our community on both the Environmentally Sensitive Lands Oversight Committee and the Traffic Advisory Council. He says he's running to bring fiscal responsibility, an infrastructure-first focus, and renewed integrity and transparency to the County Commission. Please welcome Jim DeNiro. Now it's time for opening statements. We'll do it in alphabetical order, and you have 2 minutes each. That means Jim DeNiro starts.
Good evening, everybody. And I'm not too close on this. Perfect. Jim DeNiro, a 45-year resident, Sarasota County. Grew up here pretty much, originally from Connecticut. I'm married to my wife, Erin, of 28 years. We have 2 adult children. A daughter who's a nurse at Sarasota Memorial Hospital Emergency Room, and our son who's working on his commercial pilot ratings over at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical in Daytona Beach. With that being said, my service to this community over that period of time, I served as a police officer and retired as a sergeant from the City of Sarasota Police Department in 2015, right here where we're sitting. Honorable career, highly decorated career, and I did a lot of great things when I was there working for the police department. What's critical to know that, though, is one of the things when you are in a career like that, you do not have the choice of which problem to solve. You show up and you solve those problems. And if there was ever a time in our history in our county right now, this is one of those times. Somebody who's demonstrated leadership, understands what true service is, and is accountable to the people that he serves. Nobody knows that better than I do, and I proved that for 30 years. I'm running because the time for me is now. I wanted to do it years ago, but the kids are still younger, and my schedule's now clear, and I am ready to take this role on for you as your next Sarasota County Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Joe Neunder.
Well, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for coming out today. This is a pretty cool venue, I have to be honest. First time I'm doing a radio show, so thanks to your staff and this pretty sweet new venue. And I am your commissioner out of District 4, Joe Neunder, originally from Buffalo, New York, 37-year resident, married to wife Cindy, 3 beautiful boys, Joey, Michael, and Ethan. As you said, Carrie, I am a member of Epiphany Catholic Church. I've been in private chiropractic practice for 17 years as a healthcare provider, treating neuromusculoskeletal diseases of the spine and appendicular skeleton over that time. It's been a wonderful career. Been your city councilman, your Sarasota planning commissioner, and for the last 3.5 years, your District 4 commissioner. On top of that, I'd also like to say, as was mentioned before, I am your Midnight Pass commissioner, I'm your cutting tax commissioner, I'm your stormwater creation commissioner, and I am your commissioner that in cycle requested a $5 million in budget reductions. I don't think that's been done in a very long time. On top of that, let's talk about some people that I roll with in this political world. I'm endorsed by Sarasota's top cop, Sheriff Kurt Hoffman, longest serving constitutional officer in Sarasota County, Karen Rushing, the IAFF Firefighters and EMS Union. Hey, boys, nice to see you out there. Thanks for showing up. We've got MAGA Republicans, Control Growth Now. That's a big one. And there's actually a few more, and they're not coming, but I'll expound upon that later on in this particular venue. Often people will say, Joe, why do you run? What is the impetus of your running? It's not because I have the time. I got a busy schedule. Married, 3 kids, life is hectic. But it truly is because I love our home. I absolutely love this town. We have arts, culture, great school system, great hospital system, 155 parks, anything and everything you could possibly want, we have right here in Sarasota County. This job is about experience, ladies and gentlemen. I was your planning commissioner, I was your Venice City councilman, and 3.5 years so far. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Next is Kristina Sargent.
Hi everyone, my name is Kristina Sargent. I am originally from Baltimore. I moved to Sarasota during COVID. I served 15 years in the Army. I was Sergeant in the Army. And I agree, Sarasota is a beautiful place. I have never experienced living in an area where everybody is so involved. There's the arts, there's beaches. It's fantastic. I came here for 2 weeks and I completely changed my life. I studied for the bar, passed the bar, sold my house, and moved here and never looked back. I currently am a managing partner at a law firm, but when I did move here, I was a prosecutor both here in Sarasota and in Manatee County. The last trial I had in Sarasota, I put a child predator away for life. But I am running because in 2024, we all experienced devastation with the hurricane. We have a lot of revenue. We're very fortunate to live in an area where we don't have a revenue problem, we have a priority problem. And all the candidates talk about infrastructure being a priority. It needs to be the priority moving forward, because if we don't plan now, we're gonna pay later. And I encourage everybody to come up after and speak with me. I know that I'm new to this, but I love hearing from everybody, and I like to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mark Smith.
Well, good evening. Thanks for coming out, and thanks to the other candidates for being here. It wouldn't be the same without them. I grew up in Sarasota. Family moved here in '63, as was said. I am an architect and have been for 40 years now. And architects solve problems, and as we know, we've got a few problems here in Sarasota County. It's been an experience, I will tell you, being on the county commission. I've enjoyed it. We've got a ways to go. We've got amendments coming up that are going to affect us greatly. We have a lot of other challenges, stormwater being one of them. We are on top of it, I will say, as Joe mentioned, with the new stormwater department. We've got it, I would say, managed, but it's going to take years because it wasn't maintained properly for the last 20 years or so. But I grew up here. This is my home. I moved back here in '90. It's an honor, quite honestly, to represent you all. I represent Sarasota County on the Florida Association of Counties Board of Directors. I also represent Sarasota County on the NACO, National Association of Counties Environment, Energy, and Land Use Board. So there's a lot of work to be done. I believe strongly that I have the experience and the professional background and the sincere want to help my home, our home, and would appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark Smith. We're now moving on to questions.
And we're going to dive right in with our first question. It's multi-part, but it's all related. What are your thoughts about Citizens United decision and the proliferation and increasing influence of political action committees in local races? Is your campaign supported by any PACs, and do you pledge to refrain from negative attacks on your opponents and their campaign? And I believe we're shuffling the sequence each time, and we're starting with Commissioner Neunder.
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. I don't have any PACs in my name. I believe my opponent does, though. And through those mechanisms, there's a lot of dirty, inaccurate information going on, right? In fact, I want to set the record straight on a particular PAC that was, Conservatives for a Brighter Future. There's a lot of stuff out there suggesting that I'm being bankrolled by developers. However, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to report I went onto the website. There's a lot of Venice City people reporting on there. There's a bunch of other candidates around the state. Not $1 is going to Joe Neunder from that particular PAC. So we know that it's dirty money. Didn't your brother-in-law open up a PAC too and donate to your PAC? I think he did. And you know, there's a problem with that because you need transparency and honesty. I'm the same guy here that I am at my practice, everywhere else in the community. It doesn't change. I'm going to tell you what I think. But these political PACs, or these PACs that fund dirty AI videos to sway the voters, I don't know it's going to work. Sarasota voters are smart. You all are smart. The dirty tactics, national level, state level, it's now here at the local level. We got one out of Wyoming, Carrie. Have you ever heard of a Wyoming institution coming into Sarasota County? I've been here 37 years, folks, never seen it. But I'll tell you, it's a show out there. I keep it to the facts. Got a lot of facts here we're going to talk about. And I call balls and strikes. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristina Sargent.
So I don't have any PACs. I haven't received any PAC money. I think there was a donation my first quarter. And the media went out and they found out who the donation was from, and it was from a fellow attorney in my community. And I have not done any attacks on my opponent.
Okay, thank you.
It's easy for me. I don't get involved, and I haven't seen any mud slung my way, and I haven't slugged money across the table.
Great. Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, no, I don't have a PAC. You know, there's folks out there, though, that don't need candidates to have PACs. And there is dark money out there. No, actually, we've enjoyed a clean campaign here, and it's been refreshing. You know, when you're the incumbent, you run on your record. And I believe strongly in the neighborhoods. I was able to get the county commission to bring back neighborhood workshops, in-person neighborhood workshops for land use. And so to me, that was a big victory. And here in Sarasota, the city of Sarasota and the county are now talking. Before I got on board, the city and the county hadn't met in 9 years. So I believe in just running on the facts and my record, and I'll stick by it and answer any questions about it. So thanks.
Thank you. And Jim?
Who in this room believes that PACs do not exist for a reason in the political environment and understand the rules that are in there, right? So you have donations from 1,000 and under and 1,000 and over, and that's what PACs are about. My PAC, Friends of DeNiro, forward-facing PAC, completely transparent. Please go in and look. Yes, my brother-in-law donated $8,000 to my account. 8,000, family member, not 25,000, 8,000, despite what other people want to say on social media and lie about me and my family. Spinning the word of the blur of what's the developer versus the commercial contractor. I will not back down from that. But we want to talk about PACs? You've received close to 10, or in District 4, 10 mailers. That's about $700 to $7,500 per mailer. That's $75,000 to $80,000 in mails. You can get those from me. You got them from him and all his other PACs that he hides behind, and all of his surrogates and all of his fake names with his aliases, not his, but other surrogates out there with their fake names and aliases that are well known about. That's a fact. Conservatives for a Brighter Future? We will. Conservatives for a Brighter Future? Fair enough. That PAC was started 1 month by his campaign manager after he announced running for Sarasota County Commission. Why is it a fact? When you put 4 mailers out there and use that PAC in your name to run for Sarasota County Commission and use it to run for your Florida statesman that he loves to brag about so much and has done nothing, that's the evidence you need to know that that's his PAC. And that is a fact, Joe. And that's the bottom line.
We're going to pull it up, Jim.
Oh, we're going to pull it up because it's been pulled up.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Thank you. We'll move on to our next question.
So the next question is about what most Sarasotans generally refer to as overdevelopment. National homebuilder D.R. Horton filed a lawsuit after the county commission rejected its plans to build a subdivision on agricultural land near Celery Fields. Another developer has filed a lawsuit after the county commission rejected their workforce housing projects they had filed under Florida's Live Local law. This Live Local lawsuit is trying to hold commissioners personally liable. Could these lawsuits have been avoided? And is this going to impact your votes going forward? We're beginning with Kristina Sargent.
Thank you. So I was published in a local newspaper stating my opinion, my legal opinion, that I think that the commissioners made the wrong decision with the Live Local Act. The way that it works is, regardless of how we feel about that law specifically, it's an area where the state has decided that they are going to preempt local government. So, not taking my belief out of the projects that came forward, there is very clear statutory language that says this is what it is and this is what it isn't. And if you vote against these things and you violate this statute, there's a large amount of money that is already in writing that these lawsuits are going to cost. So if you don't like the law, you go out and you fight to change it. There are other jurisdictions in Florida right now that are fighting Live Local. Nobody did what this county did. And I know a lot of individuals are saying, yes, our commissioners are standing up for us and they're doing the right thing, but you have to follow the law. When you go into court, judges have to follow the law. Police officers have to follow the law. The law is written for a reason. We can't just disregard the laws we don't like. Hillsborough County, they hired outside counsel. They are going to Tallahassee to discuss it. I think it wrapped us up in a lot of litigation. Even the county attorney said that that was going to be the result. I don't think that we have commissioners that take it upon themselves in their discretion to have a legal interpretation when something is in black and white to wrap us up in litigation. But that's where we are. This was all foreseeable. The article that I wrote was published before the lawsuits were even filed. We discussed this the last time we were all together on a panel, right when the lawsuits came out, and this is predictable. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mark Smith.
Well, thank you. I voted to fight for the neighborhoods. As far as laws, we have to obey. I believe in that, but we challenge our laws. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't have civil rights. So, and that was the law. And so, peaceful protest did prevail there. But the Live Local Act, originally written, was to revitalize commercial areas. So it was meant to revitalize and put affordable housing in commercial, industrial, and mixed-use zone districts. But the folks that develop went a little farther and says, well, hey, if you have a fruit stand in an open use farmland, well, then that's a commercial use. And if you can board dogs in a residential estate, then that's a commercial use. So now we're going to be able to put these 4- or 5-story apartment complexes out east and in our neighborhoods. And the choice that we had was either we as a county commission protect our neighborhoods and get sued by the developers, or we allow the neighborhoods to sue the developers. And that was the choice. And so I, along with the rest of the commissioners, voted to protect our taxpayers with the tax money and take a shot at it. And the legislation realized the error, and they did change it to protect residential estate and also open use. And that went into effect on July 1st of this year. And so June 30th, we get hit with a dozen of these challenges because they know that they're running out of time. But I believe a judge will go our way because the legislature's found the error of their ways, and we're going to win this.
Thank you. Next is Jim DeNiro.
So when we're talking about live local and we try to understand how we got there, it's because people turn to Tallahassee to find solutions for affordable housing. A little bit of experience on that with a little bit of a real estate background and a finance background dealing with mortgages. But we get that because people are looking at Tallahassee saying, what are you doing about affordable housing? I give you live local. Well, that doesn't help us, but it's as a result of 67 counties not addressing the true issue that we have an affordability attainable problem when it comes to housing, which is also one of our critical components when we're talking about overdevelopment. When we're talking about business owners that can't service the units that we have out there because they don't have the people to hire because they can't live here. And I'm not talking about apartment complexes or apartment units. I'm talking about homes that people can afford. If we're talking about AMI, right, 120,000, and 80% of that puts us between 87 and 90,000. Are people really making that to live here? And that's a critical problem. But what does that get you? That gets you a house, 1,500 to 1,700 square feet, for the price of $385,000. That's that price point. And a very large portion of that, okay, 70% of that's down in Northport. Not that there's anything wrong with Northport, but that's where your workforce has to live and commute back to Sarasota. It's a critical problem. But the problem is that local governments have failed on dealing with attainable housing, okay? There's a lot of talk about it. Everybody likes to do the political talking points, but at the end of the day, local governments have failed to address this issue. And there's so many other ways to work around it, getting people to the table, private-public partnerships, are things that are going to be necessary to get us there to accomplish some of these goals, to take away some of the systematic failures that we're having when it comes to workforce housing. Thank you.
And Joe Neunder.
Thank you. Well, you know, I think Mark did a really good job explaining the history as commissioners and as a board of what we have had to deal with and what we are currently dealing with. You all may know we're being sued individually now, and I've never been sued my entire life. So this is an issue that has been front and center in our community since, well, late last year. And one of the things that our government has done and our board has done, and this was, and I have to give credit to Commissioner Smith, because Commissioner Smith had an idea about putting money every year into an account to help developers do affordable housing. And I'm not sure if anybody here is aware of what the biggest barrier to building affordable housing is, but it's the land acquisition, folks. That's the biggest obstacle to entry for our affordable housing developers. And there's a difference. There's a difference between an affordable housing developer who comes in, and we have a really great one here in town that can do it at 30 and 40% AMI. That's affordable. That conversation has to be had, and individuals like that should be highlighted and supported through land acquisition to make sure that our young folks that are coming out of high school and maybe want to move out of mom and dad's place, get out on their own, have a place to go, all right? And so the other really sticking point, and we see this a lot, and there was some case law not long ago where a citizen had to individually, and I believe it was the Siesta Key Hotel issue, had to come up with the money on their own because they didn't have what is called standing. Standing means you have to be the affected party to file the lawsuit. Our board made a choice to protect our residents, to protect our citizens, and do what we thought was in the best interest of our community. We work for you. We hear you. We see you at Publix. We see you at the soccer field. That's the end of the story. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to our next question, and it's a question that I think has been a concern for the entire community, especially anyone who was here 2 years ago when we got slammed 3 times in a row, and that's flooding. At this very moment, there's a neighborhood workshop going on. By the way, thank you to Commissioner Smith and the other commissioners who voted for bringing back in-person neighborhood workshops. There is one going on right now with neighbors concerned about the impact of the High Hat Ranch development out east, with many people questioning how this substantial development may impact future flooding. The Smith Farm and D.R. Horton wants to develop next to the celery fields, which was just mentioned, was literally underwater in 2024. And there's currently a lawsuit to allow that development to proceed forward. Do you think new construction on agricultural land is a problem when it comes to flooding? land and other properties? And what is your stance on development in rural agricultural areas? And this question goes to Commissioner Smith first.
Okay, the D.R. Horton lawsuit is, I think, crazy, quite frankly. The property was underwater. It's next to the celery fields. It's not compatible. They're bringing in more dirt than what they were claiming, and they're going to flood their neighbors out. So I believe we're going to win that. It was the right thing to do. As far as the High Hat and other development out east, one of the terms I learned after I got elected was entitlements, and the previous boards had already entitled the development out east before we got here, and basically destroyed the 2050 program. And so our job now is to make sure that they're not, when they come before us for the rezones and the other approvals that they need, that they're not in the wetlands, that they're not, that they're preserving the stormwater, that their designs are such that the wildlife is preserved. And so that's, and you know, the animal crossings, and that's our job now. We can't stop the number of homes that have already been entitled, but we can influence the other aspects of it, like stormwater, setbacks, buffers, and the other aspects that they've got to put in there. So our hands are a bit tied. I did vote, I got won 4 votes on a couple of those. But the fact is that we'll do the best we can, and we can force them to obey by the stormwater rules.
Thank you. Jim?
So my response to development is quite simple: infrastructure first. I think one of the biggest problems that we have is that we have so much development that has taken place that has far exceeded our infrastructure that we currently have. I believe it's, 13 years of $1.7 billion to get caught up on infrastructure, whether that's roads, drainage, water mitigation, and so forth. But it's interesting because we had a neighborhood flood out 2 years ago, and right after 3 to 6 feet of water got in people's homes, they voted to approve the 3H Ranch and 6,600 acres over at Ibis Road. Okay, that's a pretty tone-deaf approach to looking at the problems that we're dealing with right now. And how did that problem get created? Well, whether it was a development next door that pushed the water toward them or down the stream, it was clogged up, which is more than likely the case. A neighborhood was flooded out as a result of it. Now, these are the problems with our failing infrastructure that need to be addressed, whether it's out east in agriculture, whether it's on Siesta Key, where an inch of rain floods the village now. These are critical problems that need to be addressed. And they shouldn't be political footballs when we're out there talking about this issue. But my approach is infrastructure will always come first over development, to make sure that the communities around it that aren't set differently will not flood out in a 100-year storm or a hurricane or whatever it may be. That is my stance on it. We need to look at these things now with a microscope, because the land is starting to get gobbled up. We are running out of space to a certain degree, and water needs to flow somewhere to make sure and ensure those other older communities where the engineering was done differently does not flood them out. First and foremost, infrastructure.
Thank you. Commissioner Neunder?
Thank you, Carrie. We have a lot of conversation here about development, and it's been that way for well over a decade. Our current board indeed has inherited somewhat of a problem from the amount of development, the master development orders. I believe that in High Hat there was 14,000 dwelling units approved. We have no control over that, and I think, Kristina, being an attorney, you understand how when something like that is codified, there's nothing that a subsequent board has the ability to do unless you want to be involved in lawsuits. And the infrastructure currently out there that doesn't exist will absolutely have to be front and center before I would ever approve anything, and that goes down several levels. That is potable water, that is stormwater mitigation, that is roads, the ability to engage with fire and EMS to make sure that you all can get there in ample time. That's engaging our law enforcement community, making sure that they have stations out there, substations, to make sure they service those residents. It is a massive swath of land out there, ladies and gentlemen, 14,000 homes. And as rezones do come in, part of what I do believe commissioners need to be hyper aware of is absolutely the stormwater mitigation. That should be front and center. After 2024 and our trifecta storm, my eyes have been opened. I study watersheds, flow of water. Didn't know that Philippi Creek, for those of you that don't know, is one of the major water retention areas that take it out into our little Sarasota Bay. So we have to take a very, very holistic look at infrastructure, specifically stormwater. This is Florida. And before any improvements go anywhere, they have to be absolutely under a microscope, yes.
Thank you. Kristina.
So a lot of my neighborhood flooded, and it continues to flood when it just rains. So we've had pouring rain a few times over the past few weeks, and my neighborhood floods every time that happens. I live in the Dutchman area off of Bay Vista. The problem with stormwater is these are older communities that has old infrastructure, and the capacity that this area had back when those new neighborhoods were developed aren't the same stormwater ideas and development and research that we have for the new communities. So a way to mitigate that is to create floodplains to compensate for where that stormwater goes. So they weren't graded at a level. There are places here that are in flood zones, so you can just knock them all down, destroy them, build a grade, and then rebuild them. That's obviously not logical, but that water has to go somewhere. And 2024 is recent, but it's not so recent enough that it couldn't have been a priority last time the budget was passed. This time the budget was passed. It needs to be the priority because it's going to hurt us down the line. As far as development over east, that's the current commission. There's a lot of decisions that they made with land acquisition and development that I personally don't support. But stormwater, it needs to be addressed. There needs to be a place for that water to go, and it hasn't been a priority with this county commission.
Thank you. Affordable housing. We've scratched the surface, but I'd like to have you drill a little deeper here. Only a couple of hundred affordable units are being built per year in this county. Some argue that we're actually making the situation worse by approving thousands of new market rate or luxury units. The Sarasota Square Mall is a low-hanging fruit, but its redevelopment does not include a single affordable housing unit. And even the term affordable is questionable. The county defines $2,850 a month for rent as affordable for a family of four with the average median income. Is the county's definition of affordable addressing the actual need in the population, or are we making things worse? The sequence begins this time with Jim DeNiro.
Well, thank you. Actually, this is something that is a little bit of my background just because I have it through the real estate and the finance. So I'm actually seeing the numbers, and I understand what the cost of things are for people and how hard it is. Their student loan debt, their credit card debt, their car payment, all these things that get in the way of being able to be approved for a mortgage. End of the day, we need to have much deeper conversations and not conversations with just rhetoric. We need action to deal with this issue that's been talked about for years, and the problem doesn't solve itself. Prices continue to rise. The income does not go with the cost of homes. These new developments are averaging much higher than anybody can afford. Like I said, the number of $385,000 is on average. That's not acceptable. So we're either bringing prices up, or we're either bringing salaries up, or we're finding a better way. When it comes to putting conversations at the table, you're not talking about people just in the community. You're talking about your state legislatures. Perhaps we can use some of these units that are vacant right now to give some form of tax credit that we can potentially enable people to get into some of these units to create better affordable housing than the force of something like Live Local. Maybe that would have been a better idea than just draconian putting a rule out for 67 counties to achieve that we're also diverse and different between South Florida, the coastline, and inland and panhandle. It doesn't work. Big Brother doesn't put together a one-size-fits-all solution to our problems. Our problems have to stay local. So from that standpoint, we really need to drill down on finding solutions. That's what I did for 30 years. looking at things differently, being more proactive, looking at it through a different lens. Because it's become time, it's the point, we are at a critical point that this is a serious problem for our service industry, our first responders, our teachers, our nurses, everybody we need for this community to work. They need to be here. We need to keep them here and also keep the best that we can possibly get. Thank you.
Joe Neunder.
Thank you. I believe our board has taken a very positive step in the right direction to address affordable housing. And I'm not sure if anybody here attended, but we did have an affordable housing workshop where we engaged leaders in our community about what they thought affordable housing should be. Out of that meeting, suggestions came. I believe we put in $300,000 into the kitty this year to start a particular fund to encourage developers to apply for some funding and to buy the land in this community. I think I read housing prices are currently on the downturn, though. And in this particular community, when the average price of a house is close to $500,000, it's completely unaffordable for our kids coming out of high school or college. People that want to move into this community to start their lives for the high quality of life, it's just not there. Sadowski Fund. I don't know if anybody here is familiar with the Sadowski Fund. That was a state legislator initiative that was specifically for affordable housing. Never got used for it. It was consistently rated year after year by our legislator, and none of that money ever trickled down into the 67 counties for affordable housing. And I think at this stage, because our county commission is very adamant about working with people, we need to find those people that can come to our board, work with us, do the 40% AMI, and they are out there, ladies and gentlemen. We have a great affordable housing construction firm out here that does great work, I see you. And that's what we need to do, to be perfectly honest. Thank you.
Kristina Sargent.
So I think the number one thing I hear when I'm door knocking and canvassing is that people are leaving this area because they can no longer afford to live here, or people in my peers, when I moved here and I was a prosecutor, everybody lived in Palmetto or Parrish or Venice because they couldn't afford to live here either. I just became a grandmother last Monday. My daughter, thank you. My daughter would love to, she's a paralegal, and I would love for her to raise my grandkids here. Her partner is a police officer, and it's just, it will be hard for them to stay in Sarasota. I know that there is the Affordable Housing Trust Fund that this current commission has created, $300,000. I don't know what impact that's gonna have as far as development, but I think the private partnerships, and I've heard other people in the commission talk about private partnerships with the vacant houses we have now. I went to Ocean Prime a couple weeks ago. That apartment building across the street, completely empty. There are other apartments, especially in the downtown area, that are empty. So maybe using that trust fund for our local government employees, we can do private partnerships with the hospital to allow those people to live here, because we don't have a magic wand. We aren't, the affordability is a national problem. We feel more of it here because everything is so expensive. But starting off with something like that, where you can get your local workers here into these vacant homes that are already in existence, would take a little bit of relief off of that, those types of nurses, teachers, police officers, young families.
Thank you. Mark Smith.
Oh, yeah, this has been a topic that I've been working on since I first got elected, and we do have the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Unfortunately, with the unknown of Amendment 3, and our property taxes, not sure how we're going to be able to fund it, but it has $330,000 as a start. We have used the resilient SRQ money that we've gotten from the feds over the different storms that we've had. We've gotten, I think, a total of $430 million, of which a good deal of that money went to affordable housing and to help finance affordable housing projects throughout the county. But we can't rely on disasters for funding affordable housing, and that's why that trust fund is so important. I do believe that if we were to take a percentage of the increase in property values when the county commission zones, upzones, you might say, from maybe open use to residential multifamily, and there's a property increased value, that a portion of that does go into that Affordable Housing Trust Fund. We need millions in that trust fund to really make a difference. And I believe it was the local, the Sarasota Housing Coalition that said that we needed 15,000 affordable housing in Sarasota County by 2035. And we're not going to get there unless we have the funds to do it. So I'm hopefully Amendment 3 won't pass, and we'll be able to pump some more money into that trust fund. But that's the way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking of money, the new stormwater department is the only major new ticket item in next year's budget, and it's a big one, $73 million. Is this going to be a recurring cost at that level, or was that part of starting the department? And are you concerned about that fiscal burden? On the other hand, do you think it's enough? Let us know what your priorities are as far as the stormwater department, and we will start with Commissioner Neunder.
Thank you, Carrie. I think there's plenty of money, first of all, in the fund. I think we have plenty of money to do what we need to do, coupled with the fact that we have some HUD, resilient SRQ money for certain projects already in the works. Probably the most significant project that we really need to be focused on is Philippi Creek. Phase 2 needs to happen this year. It needs to start. That is one of the major, if not the major, stormwater conveyor of where water ultimately ends through our storm sheds and our water system to ultimately go ahead and be evacuated into the Gulf. I firmly believe, and we've had stormwater experts in this community, maybe some in this room here tonight, that have done fabulous work. And when we pulled our stormwater department out from public utilities last year, in fact, I penned a letter in March that ultimately our board, I had to do the chair job that year, so it was a little bit extra work. But that was 95% not Joe Neunder. That was 95% of what the people in our community said we should be doing. We have a great stormwater manager in Ben Quartermain. He's doing a fantastic job. And I think it's out of respect for tonight, I think it's also very poignant to recognize Mr. Steve Swan. He's here with us tonight. He was contracted, yes, give him a round of applause, because he was contracted to come into the county to give his decades of expertise to help Ben and this community to be proactive in protecting our community. So I believe we have plenty of money. We still need to finish up on Philippi Creek and make sure that that stormwater conveyance system is effectively working. Educate the public. We got to make sure that the public knows during certain rain events, you got to clean up your yards. The amount of trash, the pictures that I see, the amount of trash in Philippi Creek and other areas, it was tremendous. However, we didn't know we were going to have 3 back-to-back in that case, but public education is huge. Clean up your lawns, put things away in your garage, and you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina.
So stormwater is a problem. Dredging Philippi Creek is the beginning, but it's just a Band-Aid on the bigger issue. Philippi Creek impacts where I live. That's where my water goes. But there are also the storm drains. There's additional storm water that has to go somewhere. We need to be able, if we are at or below sea level, dredging Philippi Creek is not going to impact certain areas downtown. Those older neighborhoods still need to have areas where that water goes. It's great that there is a department that was created. I'm glad that it's getting the attention it needs now, because it's true. I can't blame the commission for the hurricanes and flooding that happened, but we all felt the impact. They felt the impact. They live here. I felt the impact. You all felt the impact. It's important to prioritize that, and I think the dredging is a major financial project, but I also think that there's more storm water that needs a place to go. If you drive down Ringling Boulevard when it rains, all of that area is flooded. You go down certain roads and sometimes you have to turn around because you can't drive through it. That is a problem that needs to be addressed in those areas, and that water needs places to go. I think the county should look at maybe acquiring some land where they can put some of that storm water for these older communities that weren't created with the capacity of where the growth is now. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, I also wanted to give a shout out to Steve Slaw, who's here, because it was his work with Ben Quartermain that was able to reprioritize a great deal number of stormwater projects that weren't really going to do the job, and found $177 million in savings, essentially by redirecting those programs to better programs, more efficient programs. So that's why we have the money. We also aren't raising the stormwater assessments because the money is there. So we're in good shape. We have a lot more work to do. We have a game plan. It's the dredging and the maintenance is so important. And the city of Sarasota, a lot of y'all are celebrating your 100th anniversary. Well, that's also the 100th anniversary of your storm drains. And the fact is, the buildings are bigger now. The older neighborhoods had smaller houses. Now they got great big houses. We used to have a lot more yard to soak in the rain. We don't have that anymore. So yeah, there's a lot more water going into those old storm drains. And it's going to take a while. I own a Jeep. You may want to consider it. But in all seriousness, it's a problem that we have. In the older neighborhoods, there isn't any room for retention ponds. But we're going to get to it, working with the city. We're going to work together. We're all in this together. And we're in good shape.
Thank you. And Jim DeNiro.
My concerns are, obviously, and I'm very happy with the fact that Sarasota County has finally stepped up and has done a great job with Philippi Creek and continues to do so. It's long overdue. I lived on Philippi Creek back in the 90s. I remember when the celery fields were quite a mess back then, and the creek rose 10 feet. And ever since that was all taken care of, that problem was resolved. That being said, other than Philippi Creek, you've got South Creek, you've got North Creek, Fox Creek, let's see, Hudson Bayou, Whitaker Bayou. And many of those places, as the dive team leader, I can tell you I have been in and have never been in more need of dredging than anything else. That concerns me. Water from the county flows through the city. That also becomes a county problem. So what is the actual number and what is it going to take for us to get there? I think that is something we still need to know. I'm hoping that the funding is there, but we need to keep our foot on the gas with this situation because it's such a critical thing that for decades these things have been neglected, quite frankly. And I think we all want to be rest assured that when it comes to heavy rains, hurricanes, and so forth, and hurricanes are different because if we get surge, that's a different story, but torrential downpour rains, I could speak from first-hand experience, and a couple of police officers that are actually in this room that it did itself. Gulf Stream 41 on any particular rain would flood quite frequently. We have a separate plan just for the circle for different stages of flooding so we weren't destroying the businesses. So understanding the situation when it comes to flooding in Sarasota County and Sarasota City between the traffic unit and the Marine Patrol unit that I ran, I'm certainly familiar with their problems and hope we can continue on with doing what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you all. Unfortunately, time is beginning to run very short. So you were saved by the clock from our favorite audience question. Who is the last developer that took you to lunch? Where did you go and what did you order? So we have to move on, unfortunately, to our closing statements, and they will have to be 1.5 minutes each, beginning with Mark Smith.
Okay, well, again, thank you all for coming out. Again, I grew up here. It's my hometown. It means a lot to me. I do believe that when you're looking and vetting candidates, that they need to be involved in your community. I have been for a long time, and I would appreciate your vote and your support. We still have a lot of work to do. I'm ready to get it done. And so on the 18th, August 18th, vote for me. Thanks.
Wonderful. Next is Kristina Sargent.
Thank you. Thank you for all coming out tonight. I did not grow up here. I did not have the opportunity to grow up here, but I did grow up in Baltimore, and I can tell you it's night and day coming to an area like this. There's so much civic involvement, but we have to start planning for our future. I love living here. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to be involved. There's such a wealth of knowledge in the community, engineers, doctors, and I truly appreciate people coming to these events and meeting with us and telling us what's important. It's great that we hear from you because that's what commissioners do. They represent the community. And I want to plan for a long time that this community continues to move in the right direction. Right now, we've spent so much money. Our infrastructure is failing. We have possible data center being built in DeSoto County, which is seriously going to impact our drinking water here. But this has been a very pleasant experience with Mark Smith, and we are the only two candidates. So August 18th, please vote. Please vote. Vote for one of us. Vote for me. But please vote. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next is Joe Neunder.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to listen to us at these candidate forums. It's certainly a lot to take in, and I think at August 18th, at that point, do your proper vetting. Know who your candidates are. Check out their resume. Check out their CV. How does that apply to the job? Don't vote for me because I'm a chiropractic physician. Vote for me because I'm a county commissioner with extensive experience in local government. At the end of the day, Sarasota County is the best place to live, work, and play. We work very hard at these jobs day in, day out. Forums like this, meeting with constituents, which isn't always pleasant, especially when you have, a handful of them or dozens of them in the meeting room. But it truly is our home. And I do this job because I love our home. And at the end of the day, we have a bright future. And Sarasota County is, of the 67 counties, the best place to live, work, and play in Florida. I am Dr. Joe Neunder. I am your county commissioner. And I'd be appreciative of your vote on August 18th. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim DeNiro.
Thank you. If I didn't thank you earlier, thank you for hosting this event, and thank you for inviting me tonight. I greatly appreciate it. Yes, I'm asking for your vote. Why? Because you expect and you deserve and you earn someone who understands leadership and understands service. I think you also want, in the world that we're in today politically, you want solutions to problems. You want to be heard. You expect to be heard in some way, shape, or form. In the city of Sarasota, it's great. I worked there for 30 years. I don't know how it is now, but I could tell you back then, if somebody called City Hall, that email came to me, it came to other people I knew to find solutions to the problem and deal with it. I've been in front of communities. I've spoken in front of communities, and I've listened to their problems. I've been living in this neighborhood or living in this county now for 45 years. I've seen a lot of changes. Some of the things I don't like to see. I think I share all of our frustrations when it comes to growth and infrastructure, and it's time to get on a different path and a different direction. I'm asking for your vote for August 18th because I'm looking to do the best work for Sarasota, and maintain the best quality of life for all of us here. For our kids to live here, so I can still live here and love being here like I always have, because I can't imagine being anywhere else. It's a simple fact. So I'm asking for your vote on August 18th, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and have a great night, everybody.
Please help me, join me in thanking our commission candidates, Jim DeNiro, Joe Neunder, Kristina Sargent, and Mark Smith. And please, there's a lot of information out there about the candidates. There are other forums. Please make sure that you vote on August 18th.
You have been listening to WSLR LP 96.5 FM in Sarasota and WBPV LP 100.1 FM in Bradenton, and WSLR News, third candidate forum this 2026 election cycle. I am Johannes, Werner, WSLR News Director. Mark your agenda for our next candidate forum, August 11th, for the Democratic candidates in the District 17 congressional race. For people here in the room, take advantage and catch up with the candidates. For our listeners, stay tuned.